Before Tron Ares hits theaters, we need to go back where it all began with the original Tron movie in 1982.
You're very persistent, Tron! I'm also better than you.
Oh man, where do I even begin with this? So Kevin Flynn, the main character of the film played by Jeff Bridges, keep in mind this was like a quarter of a century before Iron Man.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
He runs this video game arcade after he was terminated from working at this company called Incom. He was actually very successful there and did a lot of work on this video game and stuff, but they fired him and stole all his credit, so he tries to hack into their stuff and set things straight, which, by the way, I don't know how computers actually worked back then and how people hacked back then. And I also wonder if the filmmakers knew how computers worked back then. I'm not an expert, so I can't say whether or not I can criticize the movie on that aspect. But anyways, there's this evil computer working for this evil boss guy there, and he catches Kevin Flynn and makes it harder for him to hack into the thing. But then these two workers there, they confront Flynn and they're like talking to him about stuff, and then they all agree to sneak into the headquarters. And Flynn tries to hack the stuff in there to set stuff right.
Huh?
But then this evil computer, it sucks him into this video game world. And there he has to make alliances and help save the day by being on tanks and cars and throwing frisbees and fighting the bad guys. And he returns home and everything's fixed and he gets the credit he needs and becomes the CEO of the company. But I mean, 2/3 of the movie is just him in the video game world. So this is one of the weirdest movies I've ever watched, and I had no clue what to even think of it. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be enjoying it or not, which is not good because I need to know what my opinion is. It actually turns out Roger Ebert, probably the most famous film critic of all time who had very high standards, gave this a 4 out of 4 stars, which shocks me honestly. But you have to go back into the minds of the people of 1982, and this was a pioneer for using computer-generated imagery in movies. It is 2D, and it definitely doesn't look like anything that great by today's standards. But if you think about it, he is sucked into the video game world. And that is how video games looked like back then, so it's not like it's so unbelievably bad or anything like that. It's how it would look if you're sucked into a 1982 video game. But it also just feels kind of weird because of like the actors.
Where's the program?
What program?
So it makes sense, but it still looks weird. But at the end of the day, it's interesting to look at. The colors pop out. It's definitely something a kid would be entertained by. I gotta say though, the characters in the video game world have very similar looking costumes though, and it's hard to tell some of them apart from each other. And it's also more confusing because Flynn is the one sucked into it, and he becomes a video game version of himself, but these other characters that were humans in the real world, they have video game versions of themselves that were already in the game, but they weren't sucked into it. And one of the video game characters' names is Tron, so the movie's called Tron for some reason, even though there's a lot of other random names that are hard to remember. Luckily, I have a list. We got Sark, Yori, Crom, and Ram. Now, there have been criticisms of this movie for its incoherent storyline, which, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's just a little confusing because of all these different elements, with the characters looking too similar, and also just like what are the motives of these evil people and like what is even going on here. And at the end of the day, I think it's safe to assume the filmmakers were more concerned about the visuals. That's where their main focus was because they were groundbreaking for the time. Before people were blown away by the Jurassic Park visuals, this was the best thing. And so just at the end of the day though, I don't feel anything while watching this movie. I don't feel tension or emotion really at all. The acting is fine, but it doesn't have a super good soundtrack or anything like that. Luckily, it's not super long. It's only like an hour and a half, and there's nothing too terribly offensive in this movie. It's just not anything great. Well, except for the fact that it did kind of predict some future technology in a super impressive way. Overall, on the shortwave meter, I will give it a 63 out of 100. But I'm not an expert on this Tron movie. Maybe you have good reasons to disagree with me. Let me know what you think about the movie in the comment section down below. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.